can't breathe. We can't breathe. I can't breathe.
As Action Aid celebrates a Day of African Child with women and girls inclusive. The rally is also aimed at reminding the Nigerian government on some of the catalogue that has not been redeemed.
At this point, because women and girls are also part of the African child, they cannot breathe. But also allows us to shape the ideas that connect Black history across space and time. To say Nigerian lives matter is to appropriate the conscientization embedded in the graffiti that Black lives matter, that it carries, and also understand oneself as a Black subject connected to historical struggle elsewhere. Despite the immense potential of the framing of issues within a global explanatory paradigm, the cause of the contemporary wave of Black social movement is only still emerging. For now, the proponents of racial dignity across national borders have to consciously connect as comrade advocates to produce a grand narrative on global Black liberation similar to the previous Black self-determination groups, such as the Black Consciousness Movement, Independence and African National Movement, Pan-African Movement, and also Negritude Movement. This rally also is organized to amplify the Nigerian catalogue of miseries that are not yet remedied.
NLB, the country director, Action Aid, also commends the government on those parts that has been redeemed. She also remembered the Chibok and Dapchi girls and urged the federal government for their immediate release and take its responsibility in tackling global Black campaign.
Though we appreciate the modest efforts being made by the government at all levels over the years, we cannot but address these recurring issues, which includes infrastructural deficit, corruption, and the cynical ways it sometimes manifests, the issues of insecurity, electoral malpractices, and violence, ineffective leadership across some tiers of government, sexual assault on women and girls, cultism, and the working of the neoliberal economy that seem to portend women as sex workers. The adoption and forced marriages of the Chibok girls, we still remember what happened to the Chibok girls. As we celebrate this day, we also reflect and remember them, that we still have some of our young girls who have been taken out of Nigeria, who have been taken out of their homes, that are still somewhere and have not been released. So on this day, we remember the Chibok girls. On this day, we also remember the Dapchi girls that were about 110 of them that were taken, and one is still remaining. They returned the rest, but Leah Shuaibu, we still remember her because she's an African child. She's still in the woods. And so we remember them as we commemorate the Day of the African Child. Thus, we demand immediate release of the girls, because now it's becoming business as usual. The government is not saying anything about the girls who are under captivity, and nobody is saying anything about Leah Shuaibu. We are asking the government to take its responsibility. We take total objection to all different colorations of oppression, such as race, ethnicity, gender, class, generations, and other forms of bordering, status. Even when the issue at stake was specifically Black, Americans' internal matter, these have resounded through transnational, transcultural, and cyberspaces where they acquired nuances of meanings within layered bows of history and culture. The global Black campaign of these times will continue to be fashioned as a struggle directed towards tackling political issues. The protest this time is different. As the world is standing with the Black race, you can see the protest, you're seeing both white and Black and also ethnic minorities joining in the struggle. It's no longer just a Black struggle. But we are happy that at least that is being acknowledged. The struggle will be vessel for forging ahead an ideological-based nationalism that challenges the disregarding of black lives everywhere. It is instructive that the anti-racism voice of this struggle aims straight at the heart of the matter, life, and particularly of the black people. The language of black dignity and liberation will continue to provoke struggles and consciousness that will shape the ideology upon which political agenda needs to thrive. We also want to add that the wave of global black migration will also critically contribute to the dynamics of these black social movements. We call on the Nigerian government, regardless of wherever they reside, or we call on all Nigerians, regardless of where they reside, now to join people back home to say Nigerian lives matter. The lives of the young people matter. With that mindset that acknowledges that despite the artificiality of geographical and national borders and the ways they separate us, our home soil still unites Nigeria and African people across locations. There might be a hastening of consciousness of global black identity and anti-blackness. Each person that encourages violence, whether in form of racism or post-colonial African context, serves as an intuitive reminder that one way or the other, our fate as black subjects are interlinked, not only by history that is past, but also an ongoing one as well.
It's no longer a black struggle any longer, as it is a matter of life. Action 8 Nigeria calls on Nigeria all over the world to say Nigeria life matters.